If you do that, you can't read distance or speed. So anybody out there today that shoots with an eye closed, okay, is guessing. Now, if they're very low, slow things, you can guess up to a point. It's when they start going at different places, different speeds, different heights, different distances, you've had it. You have had it.
Millions are spent every year by people learning to shoot. According to instructor Nick Penn, 50% of them are wasting their money. Why? Because they're being taught to close one eye. And that's just the start of it. According to Nick, eye dominance is a mere sideshow.
I'm afraid there's still this myth about left eye, right eye dominance and this, that and the other. It doesn't mean a thing.
Nick has 5 steps to shooting heaven. We will hear a little bit about them today, but just in case you don't believe his preaching, we have a couple of his students who have seen the light, and as Nick would impress, the target.
I mean, I've had people phone their wives to drive them home, because mentally they're in a completely different planet.
And miss it in front.
Kevin is a retired firefighter who started shooting 7 months ago. Then we have Andrew, who took up the sport 6 months ago. And finally we have Maddie, a complete novice but very willing volunteer. Her father, Karl, supplies the school with its Berettas, but is also a Nick convert. He wants Maddie to get into some good shooting habits.
We're so focused on getting our head down on the stock and seeing the rib and all of that, but the method makes complete sense.
First of all, God gave you lots of different bits and pieces, right? And one of the things he gave you was a computer. But probably not that many people understand how good it is, and a lot of people don't use it to its full potential. So you're looking at that bird going through the sky, and because you're looking at it with both eyes open, you are sending a message into the computer. Goes in, the little Irishman gets this message, plugs it into the computer whirs round, works out distance and speed instantly, goes back to the little Irishman, tells him the answer, and basically if you pull the trigger when it feels good, i.e. when he tells you, you will never ever miss another clay. It's the only sport in the world, in my opinion, that hasn't been explored properly. I honestly believe that. I believe that every other sport has been explored. Golf, tennis, all these other sports, they've gone into it with a fine-tooth comb and they've got the technique, and pretty much the technique to all these sports is very much the same, maybe explained slightly differently, but the wrists are cocked at the right time, the angle of the club, etc., etc. But with shooting, no one has ever come out with a proper explanation as to how it works, and this is how it works.
Because shooting can be a frustrating sport, we sometimes look for salvation in the strangest of places. Some may be better than others.
So I'm walking around with a straw down the barrel and a patch on one eye. It didn't look really good. So that's all gone. That has all gone. In fact, I don't have a barrel on my gun anymore. You don't look at the barrel, you don't look at the bead, you don't look at the lead, you look at the bird. That is what, and I've instilled it, and it works.
And it's a big leap of faith to think that your eyes can tell you where the shot needs to go without using the barrel as a reference point. It is very difficult, and then you have to trust it and believe it. Have some more. Because the other thing is, there are lots of reasons that if you take a straight bird, for instance, which is the one that you have to open eyes up on, because if you shoot with an eye shut, when you come up behind a bird, you blot it out before you pull the trigger, so you can't see what you're shooting at. And that will ring true with a lot of people. They'll say, well, I come up behind it, and once I can't see it anymore, I pull the trigger. So technically, you're shooting in the dark. But of course, with your eyes wide open, the barrel of the gun becomes a grey, transparent blur. So once you pass a bird coming towards you, it doesn't matter how far in front you need to go, you never lose sight of the bird.
But every now and again, the human being takes over and fires where he wants to, and that's when we miss.
At my club, I think there's 60 club members, and out of those, some of the things that I've been told, just you wouldn't believe. I mean, the guy that actually got me into shooting, he is left-handed, got told he was so eye dominant that he had to swap over, so he shoots right-handed now. Now that took him over a year to even be hitting anything. I've had putting tape over your glasses or one person put Vaseline, smeared Vaseline, so you can still see the light coming through your glasses, but obviously it sort of dulls everything down. Sticky tapes on your eye, little dots, and when you get so many people telling you different things, it just becomes so confusing.
Now, this is something which you would have thought in 2017 they would have worked out by now. The people that teach people to shoot would have worked out by now. When somebody goes for their first lesson, they normally get given a driven bird, and when they get this driven bird, quite often people miss to the left. Now, why do they miss to the left? The instructor says, oh, you've got a left master eye, and you go, oh, have I? What does that mean? And he says, well, you shoot off the right shoulder, this is the strong eye, and it draws you over, and it makes you miss up the left-hand side. Well, shall I explain to you why you miss up the left-hand side? It's very, very simple. Okay, if you mount the gun in the middle of your body and swing up, the gun goes dead straight, and the reason it goes dead straight is because you've got half your body pulling that way, half your body pulling that way, one cancels out the other, and the gun goes dead straight. But if you shoot from there, it hurts. So we shoot from here or here, and in your case, here. Now then, when you swing up now, when you get to about there, that's at the point when your body starts to stretch, and you've got all this body pulling that way, and nothing pulling that way. So if I face this way, as I go up, look, the higher I go, the more I drag. If I'm left-shouldered, the higher I go, the more I drag. Now, that's common sense, isn't it? Yep. But nobody's ever told you it, okay? Never. Now, for the last 100 years, when people shoot an overhead bird and they go off to the left, it's because they drag. It's got nothing to do with the eyes, okay?
As well as wanting to watch Maddie being put through her paces, Karl has also brought along some new Beretta models for Nick to try out at the school. The 690 Grade 1 is the next step up from the very popular Silver Pigeon and is being shot by Kevin. Maddie has been shooting one of the Victoria ladies' guns, new to the Beretta range for 2017.
We launched the 690 Grade 1 last year. It's available in 12-20 gauge and a sporting version as well. It's the latest incarnation in the 690 series. It sits between the Silver Pigeon and just below the 690 Grade 3, which is a game scene with nicer wood, so it bridges that gap.
You've been shooting that today?
I have, yeah.
Shooting it well?
Absolutely. It's always the shooter that misses.
The Victoria has been designed by ladies for the lady shooter, so they're not having to work with an ill-fitting chunk of timber and metal likely to deter, not inspire.
When you go on the road, when you visit the game fair, you hear so many ladies who are struggling really. They don't understand why they're finding it so difficult. Eye dominance is one thing that crops up again and again, and today we've talked about that. But also gun fit. They are not comfortable with a stock that perhaps fits their husband or their boyfriend, and there's a simple reason for that. Their physique is slightly different. The stock has been made specifically for ladies, designed by ladies. It has a semi-Monte Carlo stock, as you can see. Has a reduced radius to the grip. A lot of ladies obviously have a small hand, and therefore this reduced radius helps them to reach the trigger comfortably. The Monte Carlo just brings the stock up towards the face, so that for ladies, particularly those with a long neck, it's more comfortable. They haven't got to bend their neck across. And slightly shorter, 14 inches, 36 centimetres long, with a variety of pads, so that for the taller ladies we can go out to about 14.5 and under 14 inches for shorter ladies. So I think it covers a lot of bases.
The only thing that will stop this gun dragging left is this arm. Now, there's the clay coming towards you.
Back to computers and the little Irish gentleman. Maddie is getting into the swing.
Do you enjoy it today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite addictive when you do actually hit it, even if that's not so often at the moment. But yeah, absolutely, it's a really, really great feeling, and it is interesting as well how when focus on everything that you've been told, you can feel when you're gone to do the shot and your mind's slightly gone off somewhere else and you miss it, and you can feel when on those occasions you do manage to get everything together at once. It's a great feeling, and you can really tell the difference between that and when you're not doing what you're told, basically.
So you've got to go through it.
Nick is so convinced by his teaching methods, he's putting his money where his mouth is. If you feel you don't improve, he won't charge you for the lesson.
I mean, I could tell you a million stories about people coming here with an eye closed and pretty much, like I used to be, pretty much giving up. And I can pretty safely say, within 2 or 3 minutes, you see a grin come on their face. And after 10 minutes, you see them keep looking at you and carry on shooting. And after half an hour, they've completely forgotten about how they used to do it. And they've moved on.
So you can teach an old dog new tricks?
Oh, easy. Within minutes, but I've got to make it last an hour. Okay, right.
For more information, go to pennsports.co.uk. And for more information about the Beretta range, including the new Grade 1 690 and the Victoria Ladies Gun Line, go to gmk.co.uk.